You're tuned in to a one-take podcast.
What's going on, people? Once again, this is the Pay Me No Mind show. This is your host, Wood. I got a full panel in here tonight. I'm kind of mashing a few different things together, but I'm kind of excited just to get a bunch of views in, a bunch of different views and opinions in. And it's primarily a boxing show, but my partner G was gracious enough to stop by and kind of do a impromptu hoops and hops segment. We really didn't get into a lot of opening day things, matchups, storylines, anything of that nature. So I thought it was cool to get back in today and kind of take a look at what we've seen transpire over the first few games. Tonight we have the Heat matching up against the Heat taking on Cleveland in Cleveland. So that just kind of motivated me, like I said, to weigh in on some storylines that are going on and get some. We might not get into too many season predictions and winners and finals and all of that stuff, but like I said, we missed the ball greatly on an opening matchup, such as D Rose versus LeBron. So we'll get into that, like I said, and then we'll also my brother's also in the house, Brandon Woodson. We'll be jumping into a couple of boxing topics. Looks like we got 10 rounds set up of various boxing issues to go through. But first off, hit you with the drop real quick. Once again, let you know who you even talking to. And that's all messed up. So we're just going to get into it, period. You can speak up, G. Brandon, y'all can say hello to any listeners.
So should we just do the drop ourselves? You're listening to a one-take podcast.
We already did that. we already did that. This is what happens when you wait 4 hours after getting off work to kind of try to do something remotely important. But let me do it a little official. Make it a little official.
You are listening to with show host Wood.
There, now you know who you're rocking with. So let's get into it, man. I got some opening topics before we get into the Hoops and Hops segment. A lot of stuff going on in the NFL. It's a big week this week. We got Green Bay versus Denver, right? A pair of 6-0 teams, so somebody's O has to go. New England is looking pretty damn good. And one interesting topic came up. I know both. And you're a Lions fan, G.
Yes, I am.
What's up with the great Barry Sanders talking about he can still run for 70 yards a game? Is the man crazy?
I guess the question is he saying that he'd go and do it right now, or is he saying that our running backs are so trash that in comparison to them, he looks like he can still run 70? Because I'd say, yeah. I'd say that sounds about right. But
no, I thought I saw a story that even went a step further and said he's dreaming of a comeback. I know Herschel Walker has floated that idea out there.
Look, Herschel Walker looked like he could still play.
Right.
Okay, Herschel Walker was doing some charity event last weekend, and if you paid X amount of money, you got to compete against him in a pull-up competition. And I'm sure he smoked whoever tried to step up to the plate.
That was a very foolish individual. I'd have gave my money. I'd have donated to the charity.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to compete against Herschel Walker in anything.
That guy, I'm for real. He looks like he can suit up right now.
Right. Yeah, I think Barry. I always thought he stepped away too early,
soon, yeah.
And I felt like at some point down the road, I felt like 2 or 3 years later, he would. Start mulling it over regarding a comeback. That never happened. Who knew, 10, 12 years later, we would hear these types of things. But you're right. Maybe his leadership would be beneficial on the current team.
Yeah, I mean, look, we finally got rid of our OC. Lombardi had to go. And then, so now we've promoted the quarterback coach, who I heard them referring to as Jim Bob. Come to find out, his actual name is Jim Bob Cooter.
Yeah,
that's my offensive coordinator's name.
That's how you do it that's how they do it in Detroit. Man.
I'm looking at things are looking up in D-Town. I'm real excited.
I saw Cooter. I did not know the first name.
Jim Bob.
Interesting.
Yep.
Let me throw this to you, B. I got G&B with me. The G&B product. For those familiar with what's my man Wyclef's the G&B product. Hey, B. New England, man, is this 16-0 thing? Is it possible? After last night, I really thought Miami could get the drop on them after going up against a physical New York Jets team and then catching them on a short week. Miami has some momentum going against some lesser, quality teams, but I'm almost of the opinion that we're looking at 16-0 in the making. What say you, sir?
I definitely thought that Miami was going to be a big test for them, but they destroyed Miami, so
that was a mess.
I'm a believer. I mean, till somebody shows me different.
Dion Lewis is looking like we thought he could coming out of Pitt when he looked. He showed some signs of having some wiggle and being similar to his mentor Shady McCoy. I thought the Jets were going to do something 2 weeks ago, and like I said, I thought this was the perfect setup for Miami, and then to go out there and get beat down like this. Yeah, I think 16-0 is likely, and man,
I'm looking at their schedule.
So am I. I was getting ready to say that.
Now y'all are in my house. You better not disrespect my Washington Redskins who head there next week. After this bye,
they got one game to worry about.
What's that?
And the Broncos game, and
it's in Foxborough too, isn't it?
No, it's in Denver.
It's in Denver. But yeah, outside of that,
looking likely.
Yeah, because I you said it, and I was like, no. But then I looked at the schedule, maybe.
Perhaps the Bills. The Bills gave them a good game, but that was in Buffalo. This next game's going to be in New England.
I think everybody's kind of missed their opportunity. Miami will have them down in Miami later in the season. Maybe they catch them on a hot day. But they didn't do anything last night to make me believe that it's possible.
They put the fire out on Miami. Miami was looking like they were believing in the new coach. Like it's same guy that's been in the locker room, but a new voice. They're saying he's more player oriented. He's got an attitude about him,
making them practice during the week.
Yeah,
Tannehill actually looked worth the money.
Yeah, because then they look, we were just talking about that before we started. Like Lamar Miller looks like a running back now, but yeah, none of that was working last night.
Yeah, I mean they came out spirited in the second half and put up a touchdown, but that was pretty much the end of it. Shortly after that, yeah, I think 16-0 is very likely. I really don't see them resting people. That's really not Bill Belichick. That's really not in his nature to really take any weeks off. I think he's kind of a hardcore guy in the sense that you don't want to do anything differently than you normally do. So, yeah, man, we could be looking at Mercury Morris could be making some rounds in like week 15, 16. He could be coming out trying to throw the dash, the hopes, but I think it's likely this year. And, we'll have to see how the other side of the map, the other side of the NFC shapes up to see who's in the field. But, yeah, I see them running through that. Before I get into one team that's possible, I just had a quick thought. I'm a big time running back fan, NFL running back fan. That's the reason why I got into the game as a young kid. And I just wanted to pose the question. I come your way first, G. Is St. Louis's Gurley running back? Is it Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley.
Is it possible that his performance and, of course, AP being out there, what's my man for your Eagles be? DeMarco Murray.
I'm more excited by Ryan Matthews.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have to let that out the bag. But I'm just saying, looking at somebody like Gurley, and then we look at Leonard Fournette, and Chubb went down a while ago. But I mean, are somebody, and then when we compare that to the quarterbacks that are in the pipeline to come to in the college ranks that are prepared to come to the NFL, do you think somebody like Gurley could make teams start taking a look at building their team from the running back position as they used to?
I mean, I'd say yeah. I don't know if it's solely Todd Gurley's performance. I think that quarterback is now, as it has been, a very difficult position to play. And I think, you listen to some of the former quarterbacks that really, like Gruden and can't think of a guy that does the QB camp now. Trent Dilfer. They're saying that that's a position that takes 4 years to really learn and get into unless you come out. And we've seen regression with some guys
unless you're watching Kaepernick.
Yeah, like in regression. So yeah, exactly. Like Andrew Luck, Kaepernick.
What's his name? He's running around. Hold on. He's not a starter. But I'm just saying, on a week in and week out basis, we really only see consistency from maybe 4 or 5 quarterbacks out of 32 teams. Yeah. What about you, Brandon? I mean, you think it could be a return to running back led offenses, or?
I feel like they have to, because when you look at these defenses, the speed on these defensive lines and these linebackers is incredible. I wasn't a big fan of Carolina, and watching them play the Eagles and seeing how fast that defense was and how those linebackers could cover sideline to sideline, I said, this is the future of the defense in the NFL, and you need a running back to make those guys commit, which makes it easier for your quarterbacks. These younger quarterbacks, I think, are they're like a deer in the headlights when they say hike and they see these ends coming around running 4.7s and 4.5s. I mean, you got linebackers running sub 4.5s. You don't see that in the SEC. You may see it in 1 or 2 players a season, but when you see it on every team, I think you need a running back to offset the speed of these defenses. And you also, the guy in Atlanta, Freeman, the running back, that guy is impressive.
He's another one. He's a second year.
That guy is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to your point, I think that it's being more and more exposed now that you can win with a game manager or a quarterback who can make a timely throw. So you want that running back to take the pressure off of those guys so that you can do less. Like we were just, again, before we started recording, when we were setting everything up, talking about Tannehill. Right. Like they started using Lamar Miller heavily, and all of a sudden it looked like he was worth that money. So, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it was Gurley and Devontae Freeman who were kind of making me take a look at kind of a sea change, and that, like you said, these defenses, though. I mean, with Kuechly and there's the other guy named Smith,
Davis.
Yeah, man. I mean, 25 tackles between those guys. I mean, they had their half of the field sewn up, and and like I said, you can tell me about this guy Goff at Cal. Connor Cook threw some great balls to Burbridge in the Michigan game, and then I started running out of guys who really look like they can come into the NFL and have any degree of success. Refresh my memory if you know of anybody else.
I think these next few years, you're going to see a lot more of these flex quarterbacks come to the NFL. As you were talking about earlier with the manager, look at Cam Newton in that Eagles game. 3 interceptions. They're still sitting and dominant in that game. And I think a lot of these teams are going to look towards a mobile quarterback as another way to offset these fast defenses, because now you got to have a linebacker spy a quarterback versus dropping back in coverage, playing free, he blitz if he wants. They're going to have to be dedicated.